It's Erika here with Crystal Rose Insights for another chat with Amanda Ronson from Alchemy Healing. We are across the globe from each other. Amanda today is in brisk London, England, and I'm here in
freezing London, England. Freezing.
It's freezing, and I'm here in San Diego, and I was laughing because we got on camera, and I was like, look at me all casual, and she's all chic, you know.
Okay, I'm not going to look like this when I'm doing this from Israel. It's only because I'm in London, okay?
Yeah, so Cosmo City, you know, all that, but I was laughing at the contrast between you and me today.
I want to get back to the desert.
So, okay, awesome. So guys, this is our second conversation we're having here on this channel around healing themes, healing with consciousness. And last week, if you guys watched it, our first episode, that was really an introduction to the process of healing with consciousness. It was a little longer than our normal ones are going to be because we had to really set it up, and we had to set up the topic and understand really the why. And I know for me, I don't know if Amanda, you've sent people to that video from last week, but the people that are curious about how to heal with consciousness and really doing what we call the deep work, I'm sending them to that video so that they understand what can transform in their lives. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about something that's a big theme that's coming up that came up, I think, surprisingly, for Divine Feminine. And we can set this up a little bit, but we're also, oh my gosh, did you see that?
There's a message from Spirit.
All right. I was just about to say, I'm going to be pulling from the deck a little bit here too, to guide more of the conversation, to see what Spirit wants to add to it. Cause we're always, both of us are channeling pretty much all the time. But I know the cards are awesome. But you know what just flipped out? Faith.
Wow.
And it's hope, support, miracles, and spirituality. So I have the chills. This is really about giving you guys the understanding of how there can be miracles in healing using consciousness. And that's really why Amanda and I are coming on to do these conversations. So what we're going to talk about today is the concept of the theme of receptivity. And this is a surprise thing that came up for me personally a couple weeks ago. And it was a surprise. It was through a session I did with Amanda. And it's also been coming up in the collective as a theme. And a lot of the Divine Feminines are healing from codependency, healing from overgiving, healing from lack of worthiness. And what's really interesting is after we do a lot of our healing work, we come into this place of not doing that anymore. There's a whole nother step to that process, which is it actually is about the receiving end of it. So it's one thing to not overgive or to like feel unworthy, but when you come to worthiness, there's another level of receptivity. So Amanda.
I think it's specifically for the Divine Feminine in a way, because we're the givers. We're just the givers. That's the one main thing about the feminine, and we're happy to give. It's not like we want, we have to receive. We don't. We're so happy to give. We're so happy with all of this, and then but we're just not used to receiving, and we don't know that we can receive.
Yes, and that's a good point, because it's not a bad thing to be giving, but when people have been healing from overgiving from a place of unworthiness, that's different. So, it's like everything I always say to clients and on my videos, everything is the outside behavior can be the same, but it's the energy underneath it. So giving from a place of centeredness because you're open-hearted and truly giving to give, not to get anything in return.
But I just think also that we have to start opening a space to receive. It's the one thing, when we go through all the energy work and we make the clearings and we become more open, then we've now moved into this new place where we have a greater space to receive. And all these things are so foreign to us because, we've never been in those places before in the same way, And I think that we've been on all this journey, and everyone's been on it, through listening to Erika over the year, or everyone's going through this process where we've done so much inner healing, and we've been so focused on cleaning ourselves, and and going through this process, that suddenly we woke up to something very different. So if you want to share what happened in your treatment that was shocking, because it was like, whoa, even you were surprised, you didn't expect it.
Yeah, and I think this is such a good example, guys, of you think that you're working on something and something completely else comes up. So I know, like, because I think for me, for example, when we did this, we were working on, I knew there was something going on about me receiving, because recently I'd started to feel very uncomfortable with really deep expressions of love from my daughter, for example. And there was something in me that was like, I could feel myself energetically getting uncomfortable. And I was like, what is going on here? Because, we know we want to receive. We know it's like we want the love. We want the expressions of love. But then there was something in me that was uncomfortable in actually receiving at that level of divine love, the love of a child, very pure, very high vibration, very clean. And why is my phone doing that?
We got a load of background calls going in.
No, I shut off that app that does that. All right, fine, I'll go on airplane mode. Sorry, guys, we just got interrupted, so we had to pause the recording, but we're back. So I was in the middle of talking about something that had come up for me about receiving love, expressions of love from my daughter. And I was noticing how it's like, it's just recently that this had come up. Okay, so it wasn't like I've always been this way. It's like all of a sudden she'd go to hug me, or she'd go to give me kisses, or give me lots of kisses. Like when I'm in the kitchen and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like it's too much. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Who doesn't want their child to give them kisses and tell them how much they love them? And I found myself being uncomfortable. So I knew that there was something, that it was coming up for a reason now. Okay, because it's not like I've always been like this. This is completely brand new. And so Amanda and I went into it in one of my sessions, and it was amazing what came up. And it was one of these aha moments for me, where I felt so grateful to be doing that deep work, because I no longer squirm when she comes over, because it's about me actually receiving the fullness of true love energy. And I thought I wanted it. I always had wanted it from her, but now, anyway, go ahead, Amanda.
Well, I think that was very upsetting. I mean, we all want to be receiving it. The amazing children that we all have. And you want to be in a place of giving and receiving for them. And I was saying to you, it wasn't just about the things with the children. It's about being with your partner, your parents, anybody that's around you, that's close to you. We're going to be shown it in every way. So I'm sure everybody listening have had different experiences lately, because we're all going through as a collective a lot of these things where it's being shown to us, and it's a bit, oh well, oh, that's awkward, oh, and then you're like, well, you don't know how to kind of accept it. And that's so silly, really. Okay, because it just seems like, why could that even be happening? Of course we want that love, of course we're giving it, we're really giving it, and then we can't then accept it. So we plow deeper and deeper to all of these reasonings and what was sitting underneath, and then we're seeing it's old unworthiness, it's old stories that we felt we don't deserve things. And then again you think, well, we've cleaned all that up, but no, it's another layer that we have to look at from a higher level. So I think that the point to sharing all of this is, guys, when these things are happening to you, you can understand what's going on. This is what it is. And when we look underneath it, I think everyone should just sit back and go, why am I like that? What's that making me feel? Why am I feeling this way? What's this reminding me of? What's sitting underneath it? And I think, we don't always have to go in for a treatment. We can now be in a place we can meditate on it, right? We can sit and meditate on it. What's sitting underneath this story? Why am I feeling like that? And I had some incidents as well, and I was ran to Erika with them, and I was like, well, why are they saying that to me? Why are people saying that to me? It's a bit awkward. They're saying compliments. I was like, well, and
a great example, receiving compliments. Are you uncomfortable when people give you a compliment? Perfect example.
Yeah. And then to share the compliment, I guess, I've been told, hey, you're glowing. I'm like, yeah, good foundation on me. No. They were like, that's not it. You're glowing. Because I hadn't been to England for a while. Do you know what I mean? They'd seen that and they're like, well, you're glowing. I'm like, must be, I don't know. And it's not. It's like, you reach a place of that hidden unity within self, and you go, you work on it, you're in that place. And then you are just, I guess, you have some beam that goes out, and people recognize it.
Yeah. And then, so how else can this manifest? If maybe you can relate to this. Are you one of those people that you're totally comfortable giving somebody a back rub or a shoulder massage, but you're very uncomfortable when somebody wants to give to you? I know I was just having that conversation with someone the other day where she was saying like, oh, I just don't like when I having a massage. And it wasn't about being physically touched. It literally was about giving that time to receive from somebody else, like receive that care, that caring touch, that therapeutic touch, which is so important for humans, for our bodies, for our souls. I mean, energetically, it's such a healing modality, but literally she couldn't even do it because it was too much. And she thought that was odd.
No, but I think it's so many levels. When you're saying that, it reminded me of that happened to me, because it was years ago. I did this thing. It was called a four-handed Ayurvedic story, and it was awful. I couldn't relax for 1 minute. I thought this was disgusting, having two people working on it. It was bad enough one. It was like awful. It was like, but today, look, I wouldn't do that again for four people because I can't live with that. But I mean, I get the point of, people giving.
Yeah, so it was something that, and it can manifest in many different ways, but if, this can be for, compliments or accepting help. That's another way that this shows up is, hey, someone wants to help you. And I know for me, this was a big lesson I learned.
They don't know how to ask for help as well.
Yeah, so this is actually something that I knew I needed to learn. It was probably 3 years ago. This was big for me because, being the single mom, doing everything myself, coming from a background that, we got everything done. I can handle everything myself. I'm strong, that was valued. And I was at a time in my life where I needed to ask for help from people. And this was very hard for me because I wanted people to see me as strong and capable, and I needed to ask for support. And that was very difficult. But when I did ask for support, I can't even tell you, like I couldn't even say the story because I would just start to cry. But I learned the biggest lesson is by me opening up, asking for help, the people that cared about me around me they jumped on the opportunity to give to me. And I realized that, and I'm getting the chills, I realized that by not asking for support, it robbed them of the opportunity to demonstrate love to me. And in that moment, I was so humbled in the fact that I just received, it was an incredible turning point in my life. And so again, help, support, asking for things like that, being worthy of receiving. People want to give. So
people want to, and it makes them happy, and they have a way that they can do it for you. And all you need to just say, and you say what it is that you need, and people are happy to do it. There are people surrounding you that like a support system. So they want to help.
So let's talk about how this receiving and thing works energetically for people so they understand energetically. Let's talk a little bit about that, because it's not just okay to receive. It's like, what does that mean for divine feminine to be in receptive mode? How can we further this being in receptive mode? What are little things we can do? I mean, that's what I think people want to know. And I would love to talk about that here is energetically why that's important, because it is an energetic principle. It's not, it's not just the behavior, it's literally energetic. So if you think about it, and I always use this example, like, when you're at the beach and the water's coming in, and if you're to like push the water with your hand or your foot away, the water runs away. But the moment that like you pull it back, the water rushes in to fill the space. I think that's the best visual that I can use to describe this.
So I just want to add to that.
If
There's no movement, so imagine us as energy. If there's no movement in and there's no movement out, as if the wave, the energy remains static.
Yep.
And again, static is disease, dis-ease. It just stops the flows. So if we're not in motion and an energetic motion, it's our whole energy system's stuck. So we have to give and receive. I mean, that's the process for us.
Yeah, and if you're giving, you're just pushing that water and it's going away, way, 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 way. You've got to do both. You've got to go back and forth. So, I mean, that's pretty simple in terms of the energy of it. So let's talk about how people can actually, what they can do. Like, I guess having the awareness really, Amanda, is the first step of realizing this and then starting to practice it. Like when you're uncomfortable, if you're noticing you're uncomfortable receiving or asking for help, do it and see what happens. I think that's kind of part, like working through that. It's not
right.
just.
And don't allow yourself just to ignore it, because that's not okay. That's doing a disservice to yourself. We need to move past the places of discomfort that we have within ourselves. We must move past it. And if we know we have these things, then they're deliberately the areas we have to go in for more healing.
So I just pulled 2 cards, both crown chakra. So this is a very spiritual principle of connection and connecting.
Put it down. We couldn't see the thing.
Intelligence and inspiration, which are both crown chakra cards in this deck, which is all about education, knowledge, flexibility. That word just jumped out. Flexibility is to start with the back and forth, giving, receiving, creating that space. So where have you seen this manifesting a lot in your clients? Have you seen, I guess let's talk about what can happen when you start receiving.
Yeah, I just feel like, I would see that a lot with a lot of the women, that they were so busy running around, they're tired, they're doing everything for everybody, they're exhausted, they, especially with the children, they're running around the children, they forsake themselves, it doesn't matter about themselves, it doesn't matter even stay in a bad marriage because it doesn't matter, it's for the children. There's so many areas where the women are just not taking care of themselves, and they're continuously giving to everybody else. And we have to start taking care of ourselves. We have to receive to ourselves and then take what other people want to give to us. It's all part of the same thing.
And now we're getting hard. They're wanting us to go into the giving and receiving of with an open heart, because that's where a lot of people have blockages. How many times do we do sessions on clients where they think they want love, they're ready for love, and literally their heart is completely locked up in a vice. Like, nope, nothing's getting through.
They have to love themselves. But then, a lot of people say, well, love themselves, or how do you do that? They don't understand what that kind of love of self is. And it's called giving to yourself is love of self, right? It's, you don't feel good and you are feeling like you're putting everyone else first, you're exhausted, or whatever. You have to give to yourself. You have to reset yourself, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else.
And that goes back.
I have to do this all the time. And it's really, sometimes it's really annoying sometimes. Like, you have to take them out or whatever. I'll be like, no, I think you have to have got clients, I've got to do other things. But I don't have the choice, because if I don't take care of myself, I really can't take care of anybody.
And that goes back to the video I did a couple weeks ago for Divine Feminine about self-honoring and how, the importance of self-honoring, which is giving to yourself, making sure that you prioritize that. So if you guys haven't seen that video, it's on the channel. It's called, I don't know if it's called Special Topic, Divine Feminine, Self-Honoring, or something like that. So it's a very important principle, because when you start to honor yourself, it's also how other people will start to honor you. Like, how can you expect somebody to honor you, or to give to, or to, love all the flaws that you have if you don't love them about yourself? It's really coming back to that same theme, Amanda, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and then we're just getting forgiveness too.
That was mentioned last time we spoke, didn't I? It was all
Letting go, healing, growth, compassion, self-forgiveness. We started talking about it, but it's such a massive topic. We're going to probably do a whole nother session on this.
I feel that we're coming in at the end of these processes, you know, when we're sharing these. But I hope, but I think a lot of people are that they're on a twin flame journey. They must be where we're sitting on these in these latter stages, right? That they're understanding what we're saying when we're talking about self-forgiveness and self-love and all these things. You know, that if you're on this process, this should be resonating because you should be doing this level of work already.
Yeah. God, they are on the crown chakra today.
It's the knowledge.
Yeah, it's the knowledge, it's the opening up, it's letting it all pour into you from the heart, from the crown, everywhere, right?
No, but I think it's one thing about knowing it. You know, when it comes from the heart chakra, it's about open-heartedness and coming from that area. But when it's coming from the head, the crown chakra coming from the wisdoms, you know, it's the two together. And I think that is the divine feminine. I think that is, it's the two, the wisdom with the heart. I think that's her place. That is when they're working together and they're in unity and they are integrated, then we do become the divine feminine in its fullest power. And we must be able to receive in order to do that.
Yeah. And I think, and so that is, it is such a big thing. You know, we're taught so much, don't be, you know, be humble, kind of slow, like dim your light, like don't be as big as you are. And part of, I've seen a lot of my clients right now, Amanda, moving into their mission work, really opening up to that in massive ways. And what they're breaking through is their old paradigms of only being at this level in terms of their success or their fulfillment, their abundance. And the next thing you know, they're breaking free. They're starting to do their mission work. And all of a sudden, all this stuff is coming at them. And it's like, they're almost missing the fact that it's a gift from the divine of being open to that. Like I had a client yesterday who has gotten this incredible job opportunity, going to make a lot more money, but she was afraid to take it because it would have maybe meant this on the other side. And I was like, you are coming into alignment. You're moving forward. The universe is gifting you this amazing opportunity so that you can move into your mission work.
Well, the little bit more to add on that one is the fact that I heard this today. This was exactly the one I was on today with two other amazing healer ladies I was meeting before we were doing this. And basically, both of them had issues being in their power. Because of past lives, they were murdered, obviously, when they were in it, or they were, you know, obviously healers and something, and then they were killed for it, or their children got killed for it, or people got killed for it. So that's another major one about then we're able to receive, and then we're able to be in our power and then do our mission work. Because until we get past that little correction, okay, that we can accept being in our power, then we can't go and do what we're supposed to be doing. So then it's like all part of that cycle of you've got to get, you know, to start receiving, start forgiveness, you know, move to a place of love of self, then move to a place I can be in my power, I accept my power, okay? And then we move to the mission work.
Yeah.
And there was
it's all interconnected.
I had a lot with being in my power. I had a lot. I mean, you know, I've got stories that were going on that, you know, that everything was there to prevent me from being in my power.
Well, because that's the other topic we're going to talk about on another episode is all about the divine feminine being in her power. What does this mean? The sacral chakra, you know, the divine feminine having issues around sacral imbalances and what that means with coming into power. I mean, that's one of the first things that I know I work on with clients when they first come. It's like, it's usually having to do something with their power, being in their power, being safe to be in their power, or being powerless. It's a theme that is like, it feels like it's more of an entryway kind of a theme, but it's massive. Because it's like, once you start balancing the power piece, then some of these other layers come out, but it's almost like a foundation. Would you agree?
Definitely. But I mean, But when, who the people are coming to me, we don't know where it starts for them. So some will be starting in the sacral, some will be starting with the crown, some will be starting coming from the throat, some will start coming from, from so many different places. And each one is opened exactly according to what the person's going through. So I can't generalize on that one, but it's definitely one that we have to clean up across the board.
Yeah.
Even if we went through, our communication ones, we were all unable to speak, we were unable to do, then later we'll come to the sacral. Or we start off on the sacral because we have issues all around that first, that's why we've come for healing, and then we've got a whole load of other things that then come up after it. So it can be either way, but you have to go through each of them to balance them.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there anything, before we wrap up here, anything else that we want to leave people with? So we typically, on these calls, we're going to be also doing more like examples from our healings from the week. But ironically, Amanda's been traveling this past week, and I closed my calendar for my healing sessions this past week because I have a massive other project I'm working on. So, but typically in these videos, we are going to be getting a little bit more into some of the sessions and what's been coming up and how they've shown up differently or the same theme in different ways, like we started talking about last time. But I think the receiving thing has been a big thing lately, and we wanted to talk about it this week.
And we really want to be giving everybody the examples of it. So yes, and we can have a lot of examples when we're on a usual week,
Yeah, and I think part of us giving the examples and having these conversations is because a lot of you guys are always asking the healing questions, like, I know I need to do the healing. What do I do? How do I do this? And I think sometimes listening to stories or relating to different things that other people have gone through and healed through, it'll resonate with some of you, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's so me. And that brings you that awareness, which then means you can start moving through it. So we're hoping that these discussions will be like eye-opening and maybe help alert you to some of the things that are in your blind spot or things that you didn't really realize that you needed to work through. So
yeah, and I have this feeling that a lot of people have done amazing works, and they've done work in all different areas. They've had energetic healing, they've done all different types of healings, and and now it's a time for integrative healing, because it's a time of like, okay, so now I want to see other things, I want to understand things from another level. So we're trying to make this practical and to help people understand where they're at in an earthly level.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Amanda, for coming on again today from London. And guys, if this is something that you've struggled with, definitely in the comments below, if you want to share how this has been hard for you or what you've done to work through it, it will definitely help others to see, how you can move through this and all of that good stuff. So we're going to be back again next week sometime with another theme of the week. And I've got a bunch of sessions this week, so I'll definitely have lots to talk about. And you'll be back home, right, next week?
Yes.
Okie doke. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. And until next time, send you much love. Bye.